morning, all of you. So today we'll discuss solid state, lecture number 2. So in the first lecture, we have discussed about types of solids and what are crystalline solids, what are amorphous solids. Apart from that, we have discussed about types of ionic solids, covalent solids, etc. etc. Now, in this class, we are going to discuss more about solids, that is crystalline solids. Already I told you the previous lecture when I told you, in this chapter we'll discuss more about crystalline solids. Now, what is crystal lattice? Today's class topic is what is crystal lattice. So a crystal lattice is a three-dimensional representation of atoms and molecules arranged in a specific order or pattern. In other words, a crystal lattice can be defined as a geometrical arrangement of constituent particles of matter, that is atoms, ions, or molecules, as points in space. So if the three-dimensional arrangement of points in space is nothing but what? Crystal lattice. All molecules, solid, crystalline solids will form crystal lattices. So there are 14 possible three-dimensional lattices. Crystal lattices are also known as Bravais lattices, named after the scientist Auguste Bravais. So before going to the next topic, yes, what is crystal lattice? The three-dimensional arrangement of points in space. The three-dimensional arrangement of points in space. That points in space is nothing but what? Crystal lattice. So what are the three-dimensional, what they will arrange? The three-dimensional representation of atoms and molecules arranged in a specific order or pattern. So a crystal lattice can be defined as a geometrical arrangement of constant particles of matter, that is atoms, ions, and molecules. So this is called crystal lattice. Here we have seen lithium chloride crystal lattice, examples of crystal lattice. So many all the solids will form crystal lattices only, as we already know. And there are total 14 possible three-dimensional lattices, out of which we have only 7. And those 14 possible three-dimensional lattices are also called as Bravais lattices because they are named after the scientist Auguste Bravais. Next, the characteristics of crystal lattices. The following characteristics are depicted by Bravais lattices. Each point in a lattice represents a lattice site, or we can say lattice point. Each point in a lattice represents a lattice site, or we can say lattice point. Each point denotes a particular type of constant particles of matter. To be an atom, molecular, ion. By joining the lattices points inside the lattice, we can definitely define the geometry of the lattice. So these are the main characteristics of crystal lattices. So first one, each point in the lattice represents a lattice site, or we can say lattice point. Next, the main, here onwards, very, very important. All of you listen carefully. So what is the crystalline solid consisting of? First one, a crystal lattice consisting of unit cell. What is a unit cell? The smallest possible portion of the crystal, which repeats itself in different directions of the lattice, is called unit cell. So the smallest possible portion of the part of the crystal lattice which repeats itself in different directions of the lattice is called unit cell. So here this is called a unit cell. So it is a three-dimensional diagram. So a unit cell has following characteristics. A unit cell has 3 edges A, B, and C. 3 angles between them, alpha, beta, and gamma, respectively between the edges. Thus, A, B, and C may or may not be mutually perpendicular. So to draw A, B, and C, we can say three-dimensional diagram. A, B, and C. They can be mutually perpendicular or may not be mutually perpendicular. So here we can see here. This is called a crystal lattice. Here this line is called A, and this line is called B, and this line is called C. So they are mutually may or may not be perpendicular to each other. So the angle between the edges is angles between the edges. Yes. angle between the edges. So this is called angle between the edges. They are called alpha, beta, and gamma respectively. So this is called the main characteristic of unit cell. Unit cell has three edges A, B, and C, and the angles between them is alpha, beta, and gamma between the respective edges. The A, B, and C may or may not be mutually perpendicular. This line is important. The A, B, and C may or may not be mutually perpendicular. The angle between edge B and C is alpha, A and C is beta, and that of A and B is gamma. So, what are the types of unit cells? Unit cells are mainly two types. Unit cells are mainly of two types. That is primitive unit cells and centered unit cells. Primitive unit cells and centered unit cells. Primitive unit cell means simple unit cell. So, a primitive unit cell consisting of this is called the primitive unit cell. Yes, this is called the primitive unit cell. It contains 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it contains 8 corners. How many corners? 8 corners. So this is called as primitive unit cell. It contains 8 corners. So at each corner, very, very important, please note down, at each corner, 1/8 of atom is contributed. 1/8 of atom is contributed. At each corner, 1/8 of atom is contributed to the unit cell, is contributed. So Z is equal to 1. 8 into 1/8. 8 into 1/8, since it has 8 corners. So 8 into 1/8. So it is equal to 1. So this is the number. Z is called number of atoms per unit cell. What is Z is called? Number of atoms per unit cell. Z is equal to number of atoms per unit cell. Please note down all of you. This is very, very important. So Z is equal to number of atoms per unit cell. So this is called a simple unit cell or primitive unit cell. So what is this primitive unit cell consisting of? It contains 8 corners. 8 corners that is mentioned in the diagram also. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 corners. No face centers, no body centers. Simply it contains only 8 corners. Means what? Here all the atoms will occupy only corners, not anywhere in the unit cell. Very, very important point here is in a simple unit cell, all the atoms will occupy only atoms or ions or molecules will occupy only at the corners, and at each corner 1/8 of atom is contributed, or at 1/8 of substance is contributed. So here I have written only atom. It's not only for atom, ion or molecule. So depending on the substance. So at each corner 1/8 of atom is contributed. So Z is equal to 8 corners and 1/8 at each one. So 1/8, 8 into 1/8 is equal to 1. So the number of atoms per unit cell for a simple or primitive unit cell is Z is equal to 1. Next, coming to body center. Second one we have shown here. It is called body center. In this, you can see clearly all the atoms are present not only at the corners. Means all the atoms are present at 8 corners. Apart from 8 corners, one atom will be present at body center. One atom is present at body center. So you can see here, this is called body center. Just underline this. I'm underlining this. Just this is called body center. So apart from 8 corners, one is present at the center. So by this you can say number of atoms per unit cell for body centered. This is called centered unit cell. This is coming under centered unit cell. So for body centered, Z is equal to 8 into 1/8. For body centered, Z is equal to 8 into 1/8 plus 1. It is coming around 2. So it is equal to 2. So number of atoms per unit cell for body centered is equal to how many? 2. So this is called centered unit cell. What are centered unit cell? A unit cell which consisting of the atoms or molecules or ions are present not only at the corners but also one is present at the center. Some atoms or ions or molecules present at the centers. So in this we have 3 types. One is body centered, face centered, and end centered. Now we are discussing about body centered in this case. So since the diagram is here clearly represents, it has eight corners and one body center. So the atoms will occupy all the eight corners, and at each corner 1/8 of atom is contributed, and one atom is present at the center, and that is one complete atom. So that's why we'll get Z is equal to 2. Next, coming to face centered. This is called face centered, third one. So this is called face centered. I'm underlining it. Yes, face centered. So in this, what happens by seeing the diagram, we can say in this type of unit cell, this is another type of centered unit cell. This is another type of centered unit cell. In this type of unit cell, the atoms or ions or molecules are occupying not only the corners but also all the 6 face centers. So 8 corners plus 6 face centers. And at each face center, 1/2 of atom is contributed. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So these are called 6 phase centers, and at each phase center we have 1/2 of atom is contributed. 1/2 of atom is contributed, and at corners already we know it is 1/8 of atom is contributed. So by this we can say Z is equal to, for phase center, Z is equal to 8 into 1/8 plus 6 into 1/2, which is equal to 4. So Z value is equal to 4 for phase center. Very, very important. So Z value is equal to 1 for simple unit cell. Z value is equal to 2 for body centered, and Z value is equal to 4 for face centered. So in this way we can find out the types of unit cells. So here one more type of unit cell is, so primitive unit cell, again the slide is clearly given here. The unit cell in which the constant particles or atoms are located only on the corners of the lattice is called a primitive unit cell. So primitive unit cell, the unit cell which constant particles, so Z is equal to 1. Here just I'm writing it again for your understanding. For primitive unit cells, Z is equal to 1. What is Z? Z is equal to 8 into 1/8 plus 1 plus, so 8 into 1/8, which is equal to 1. So this is called primitive unit cell. So what is that here? Number of atoms per unit cell. Already the last slide we have seen what is primitive unit cell diagram. Just atoms or ions are occurring only at the corners of the lattice, only on the corners of the lattice. Number of atoms per unit cell. So next, coming to the unit cell in which constituent particles are located on the corners as well as the other position of the lattice are known as centered unit cells, as I already discussed with you in the last session. So what are centered unit cells? The unit cell in which the constituent particles, that is atoms, ions or molecules, are located on the corners as well as the other positions of the lattices is known as centered unit cell. A centered unit cell is further divided into 3 types: body centered, face centered and end centered. So body centered, already the diagram is shown in the previous slide. So for body centered, so coming to body center, the unit cell which contains one constant particle, atom, molecule, or ion at its body center, and other constant particles are located on the corners. So here all the atoms will be located at the 8 corners, and one is at the body center, is called body centered unit cell. In this unit cell, Z is equal to 2. Z is equal to, this diagram also we have seen in the last slide. Next, face center. The unit cell which contains constant particles, that is atoms, molecules or ions on each face of the unit cell. On each face, there are 6 faces in the cuboid. So each face on the unit cell and other constant particles are the corners. So the atoms will occupy all the corners and all the face centers. So this is called a face centered unit cell where Z is equal to 4, because we got at each corner 1/8 of atom is contributed, and each face 1/2 of atom is contributed. So 6 into 1/2 plus 8 into 1/8, which is coming around Z is equal to 4. Next, end centers. So in an end-centered unit cell, it is diagram clearly it is given here. This is called end-centered unit cell. The particle, atom, molecule, or ion is present at the center of opposite faces. So this is called center of opposite faces. So there are 2 centers of opposite faces beside the one located at the corners. And for this, Z is equal to 3. So 8 into 1/8 plus 2. 8 into 1/8 plus 2. So it is equal to 3. So for end-centered, Z is equal to 3. So these are the different types of centered unit cells we have. Centered unit cells. First, what is primitive unit cell? What is unit cell? A unit cell is nothing but the smallest portion of the crystal lattice which repeats over the entire lattice is called a unit cell. Again, I'm repeating, the smallest portion of the crystal lattice which repeats over the entire lattice is called a unit cell. And unit cell is consisting of two types mainly, the primitive unit cell or simple unit cell and the centered unit cells. The unit cell in which the constant particles only located at the corners of the lattice is called a primitive unit cell. So primitive unit cell, what is the value of Z? Z is equal to 1. How we got it? Because from experimental data we know that from the experiment we can say at each corner of any crystal, at each corner of any crystal, only 1 by 8 of atom is contributed. So in that case, Z is equal to 8 into 1 by 8, which is equal to 1. Next, coming to centered unit cells, the unit cell in which the constant particles are located on the corners as well as other positions of the lattice are known as centered unit cells. So in centered unit cells, we have three types: body centered, face centered, and end centered. So body centered we already we discussed, face centered also we discussed, end centered. In this concept, Z value is important because for calculating density of crystal, we should know the value of Z. What is Z? Number of atoms per unit cell. So for simple cubic or primitive unit cell, simple cubic or primitive unit cell both are same. So simple cubic or primitive unit cell, Z is equal to 1. Simple cubic or primitive unit cell, Z is equal to 1. And for body centered, Z is equal to 2. And for face centered, Z is equal to 4. And end center is not there in the syllabus, but still it is there. So in the textbook, so we are discussing about that. So end centered is Z is equal to 3. Now coming to next slide. Next. So as we discussed, we have total 14 crystal systems. How many crystal systems? 14 crystal systems. They are called as Bravais lattices. 14 possible ways of a crystal. Now in that we have only 7 we have mainly. So what are those formation of lattices? You can see here this is cubic, tetragonal, orthorhombic, hexagonal, rhombohedral, monoclinic, and triclinic. So since already we discussed in a unit cell, we have 3 edges, that is A, B, and C. For crystal lattice, what are the parameters of crystal lattice? We have total 3 edges for crystal lattice, that is A, B, and C. In each and every diagram, you can see A, B, and C. So these are called 3-dimensional. So in each and every diagram, you can see A, B, and C. So these are called as edges. A, B, and C are called edges. And the angle between edges, in each and every diagram, you can see alpha, beta, and gamma. So A, B, C are called edges, and alpha, beta, gamma are called angle between edges. Angle between edges. So total, we have total 7 types of crystal lattices. This total is 14, that is Bravais lattices. Next table, you can see all these 7 types of crystal lattices. That is cubic, tetragonal, orthorhombic, hexagonal, rhombohedral, monoclinic, triclinic. These are the crystals. And in each and every crystal, we can see alpha. In the cubic crystal, if you see here, alpha is equal to 90 degrees, beta is equal to 90 degrees, gamma is equal to 90 degrees. And in tetragonal, we have alpha is equal to 90, beta is equal to 90, gamma also equal to 90, and the shape will be different. Orthorhombic, we have alpha is equal to 90, beta is equal to 90, gamma is also equal to 90. Whereas hexagonal, we have alpha is equal to 90, beta is equal to 90, and gamma is not 90, it is equal to 120 degrees. Rhombohedral, we have all the angles. Monoclinic also, we have triclinic also. So let us see brief discussion about all these things. And it is given in the table clearly. Before going to table, what is a cubic lattice? So what is a cubic lattice? You can see here. It contains 3 possible geometries of unit cells: primitive, body centered, and face centered. So a cubic lattice contains all the 3 possible geometries of unit cells, that is primitive unit cell, body centered unit cell, as well as face centered. So in a cubic lattice, all the edges are equal and the angle between their faces is 90 degrees, that is mutually perpendicular to each other. So very important. In a cubic lattice unit cell, we have primitive, body centered, and face centered unit cells. Means it contains, that lattice contains all the 3: primitive, body centered, and face centered unit cells, and the angle between their faces is equal to 90 degrees, that is mutually perpendicular. Next, tetragonal lattice. The formation of tetragonal lattice takes place in two geometries of unit cells. One is primitive and body centered. So in cubic lattice, we have seen it contains primitive, body centered as face centered, and here it is containing only primitive and body centered unit cells. In a tetragonal lattice, only one edge has different length and angle between the respective edges is 90 degrees. That is, they are also mutually perpendicular. So in tetragonal lattice, alpha is equal to beta is equal to gamma, A is equal to B, but B is not equal to C. That is most important. That is given in the next slide, or the table is given. So what is a tetragonal lattice consisting of? It contains mainly two unit cells. What are those? Primitive and body centered unit cells. The one which are underlining is very, very important. Please note down those things when you are listening this class in your phone or in your laptop. So the underlying ones, whatever I'm underlining, those are very important. Just note it down in your classroom. Next, orthorhombic lattice. There are four types of orthorhombic lattice, mainly primitive, end-centered, body-centered, and face-centered. So orthorhombic contains all the four: primitive, end-centered, body-centered, and face-centered. In orthorhombic lattice, the edge lengths are unequal in nature. The edge lengths are unequal in nature. That is, A is not equal to B is not equal to C, and the angle between their respective edges is 90 degrees. That is mutually perpendicular. So this is the example of examples we'll discuss more later. So this is called orthorhombic lattice. Next, monoclinic lattice. In monoclinic lattice is a type of lattice formed from two types of units, namely primitive and end center. So they contains only primitive and end center. All these points they'll ask in the competitive part. So monoclinic lattice has unequal sides and two angles between the faces of the lattice are 90 degrees. Unequal sides means what? A is not equal to B is not equal to C, alpha is equal to beta is equal to 90 degrees, and gamma is not equal to 90 degrees. That is called monoclinic lattice. That we'll discuss in the next table. Next, hexagonal lattice. So what is a hexagonal lattice? It is formed only from one type of unit cell, that is called primitive. So hexagonal lattice is formed only one type of unit cell, that is primitive unit cell. In hexagonal lattice, only one side and two angles are 90 degrees and one angle is 120 degrees. This already diagram we have seen in the previous slide. So this is 120 degrees. Next, rhombohedral lattice. Rhombohedral lattice is also found from one type of unit cell, that is primitive. So rhombohedral lattice is also made up of primitive unit cell. It contains only primitive unit cell only. Rhombohedral lattice, all the sides are equal and the two angles between the face of the rhombohedral lattice are less than 90 degrees. So these underlying parts are very important, which I have highlighted in the next table. Next, triclinic lattice. The formation of triclinic lattice also takes place from one type of unit cell to, that is primitive. In triclinic lattice, all the sides are unequal. It means A is not equal to B is not equal to C, and none of the angles between the faces of the triclinic are 90 degrees, so they are not mutually perpendicular to each other. So these are the different lattices. That is total 7 lattices we have. These 14 lattices, that is 7 Bravais lattices also we discussed. Next slide, we have given the table clearly and examples. This table is very important. From this table, definitely they'll ask one question for competitive. So the entire table is very, very important. So what we have discussed before the definition, the same thing here. So cubic lattice contains what type of unit cells? Primitive, body-centered, face-centered. So a cubic lattice contains primitive, body-centered, and face-centered. And the edges and that edge length is same. That is A is equal to B is equal to C, and the angle between the edges is also equal. So that is alpha, beta, gamma. So hence they are mutually perpendicular. So example, NaCl, copper, and zinc sulfide. So NaCl forms cubic lattice. Copper forms cubic lattice. Zinc sulfide forms cubic lattice. Next, tetragonal. It contains only two types of unit cells, only primitive as well as body centered. In this, A is equal to B, but B is not equal to C. Means what? The sides A is equal to B, but side B is not equal to C. And the angle between the edges, that is so alpha, beta, and gamma is equal to 90 degrees. So here we have white tin, that is SN, SnO2 tin dioxide, titanium dioxide, and calcium sulfate. These are all the examples of tetragonal. Next, orthorhombic. It contains primitive, body-centered, face-centered, and centered. Means all types of unit cells present is all the unit cells are present in orthorhombic. And in this orthorhombic, all the sides are not equal, but the angles between the sides are equal. That is alpha is equal to beta is equal to 90 degrees, but all the sides are not equal. So it is example is rhombic sulfur, barium sulfate, and potassium nitrate. Next, hexagonal. In this hexagonal, it contains only one type of unit cell, that is primitive. In this, A is equal to B is not equal to C. Means what? Two sides are equal, but third side is different. And alpha, beta, and gamma. Alpha and is equal to beta. Two angles are also equal. Third angle is 120 degrees. So hexagonal, graphite, zinc oxide, cadmium sulfate. Now, how they'll ask the question from this table? As I told you, this table is very important for competitive part. How they'll ask? For example, they'll ask in a hexagonal cubic lattice. In a hexagonal cubic lattice, they'll give which of the following is incorrect, which of the following is incorrect, or which of the following is correct. They'll go A is equal to B is equal to C, alpha is equal to beta is equal to gamma is equal to 90 degrees. Like that. That is first option, second option, third option. They'll change the options and they'll give four different options based on edge length and angle between faces. So you should know the pattern of edge length and angle between faces as well as types and as well as examples. So all the 4 points are important because they'll say NaCl undergoes cubic crystal lattice, copper undergoes cubic crystal lattice, tin dioxide undergoes tetragonal lattice. So like this they'll ask the question. So anyway, all the points, all this table, all the points in this table are most important because definitely you are going to get one question for competitive exam. So prepare for that. Next, rhombohedron. So rhombohedron consisting of only one type of unit cell, that is called only primitive unit cell. A is equal to B is equal to C, alpha is equal to beta is equal to gamma, which is not equal to 90 degrees. So alpha is equal to beta is equal to gamma is not equal to 90 degrees. And example is calcite, that is calcium carbonate, and cinnabar, that is mercuric sulfide. Next, monoclinic lattice. We have, it contains only two types of unit cells. One is primitive unit cell and the is end-centered unit cell. And the sides A, B, C are not equal. And the angle between edges, that is alpha is equal to gamma is equal to 90 degrees, but beta is not equal to 90 degrees. Example, sulfur. So next, last one, triclinic. It contains primitive unit cell, only primitive unit cell. And A is not equal to B is not equal to C. Alpha is not equal to beta is not equal to gamma is not equal to 90 degrees. So example, H3PO3 CuSO4.5H2O, that is hydrated copper sulfate crystals, and phosphorus acid. Phosphorus acid and hydrated copper sulfate crystals. These are the examples of triclinic. More examples you can see in NCERT also, but I think these are the important compounds. That's why I kept it here. So this is called 7 types of crystals lattices we have. What are the 7 types of crystal lattices? Cubic, tetragonal, orthorhombic, hexagonal, rhombohedral, monoclinic, triclinic. Unit cells we have only 4 types. What are the simple cubic, body centered, face centered, and end centered. And already we discussed how many atoms per unit cell also we have discussed clearly. So all these points are very important for the competitive part. So next topic, closed pack structures. So already you know solids are in solids, all the molecules are closely packed. So that's why they are rigid in nature. And in order to analyze close packing of constant particles, ions, molecules, or atoms in the lattice, we get into an assumption that constant particles, ions, molecules, or atoms are hard spheres of identical shape. So all the constant particles are hard spheres of identical shape. That's why we have written in the unit cell also the spheres at the corner, all the spheres at corners. So they have been assumed that all the particles, constant particles, molecules, or atoms or ions are hard spheres of identical shape. So you can see here A, B, and so on. So different types of layers form closed packed structures. So single layer A, B, and C. 2 layers A, B, C. So one is blue color, one is first layer, and white color one is second layer, black color one is third layer. So HCP, CCP. So we have different types of layers forming closed pack structures. So single layer, 2 layers, and 3 layers. Single layer is nothing but A type, B type, C type. 2 layers means AB type. 3 layers means ABC type. So they'll ask this type of layers also in the exam. Very important. So next, moving to the next slide. What is close packing? The packing of constant particles inside lattice in such a way that they occupy maximum available space in the lattice is known as close packing. Close packing is done in 3 ways, namely. So what is close packing? Already we discussed. The packing of constant particles inside the lattice in such a way that they occupy maximum available space in the lattice is known as close packing. So we have one-dimensional close packing. In one-dimensional close packing, the spheres are arranged in a row touching each other arranged in a row, touching each other just like this. I'll draw it. You can see here, this is called one-dimensional. The concentric spheres will touch like this in a row. So concentric spheres, here we are unable to draw concentric. Concentric means same size. So concentric means same size. It's very difficult to draw same size spheres with a hand. So just I'm giving you an example. This is called one-dimensional close packing in a row. So in one-dimensional close packing, the spheres are arranged in a row, touching each other. So here the spheres are touching each other. In one-dimensional close packing, each sphere is in direct contact with two of its neighbor spheres. So if you see here the second one, it is in contact with first one as well as third one. So each sphere is in direct contact with two of its neighbors, nearest spheres, and two of its neighbor spheres. The number of nearest spheres to a particle in lattice is called coordination number. So the number of nearest spheres to a particle in a lattice is called coordination number. Since there are two spheres in direct contact with one sphere, the coordination number of one-dimensional close packing is 2. So the one-dimensional close packing crystal lattices are for having coordination number 2. Means coordination number 2 means what? It contains two nearest neighbors. Each particle contains two nearest neighbors, that is 1 and 3. So 1 and 3. So the second sphere is in contact with 1 and 3, and so on. So this is called one-dimensional close packing. I hope it is clear. Next, two-dimensional close packing. You can see very, very important. So two-dimensional close packing is done by stacking rows of hard spheres one above the other, like this in the diagram. One above the other, one above the other, one above the other. This can be done in two ways. It has A type, A, B, A type. So A type means all the concentric molecules, same type. So the packing in which one sphere touches two spheres placed in two different rows. Here A is touching, here the first sphere, second sphere, if you see, it is touching two spheres of two different rows. So one above and one below, one above and one below is called A type, AAA type close packing. So what they ask in the which of the following is true regarding AAA type close packing? The packing in which one sphere touches two spheres. One sphere is touching two spheres. You can see it is rounded up here clearly in the red marker. So one sphere is touching two spheres, one above and one below, that is two different rows. So two spheres of two different rows. See here, you can see this middle one is touching this sphere of this row, and this sphere of this sphere of other row. So it is touching two different rows, one above the other and one below, is called A type, AAA type, A type close packing. The coordination number of A type two-dimensional close packing is 4, because it is in contact with four different spheres. Hence, the coordination number is 4. So coordination number is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Since it is in direct contact with four spheres, so its coordination number is equal to 4. The A type is formed by placing one-dimensional row directly one above the other in both horizontal and vertical directions. It is also called as two-dimensional square close packing, as the rows of spheres when arranged in vertical and horizontal elements forms a square. So this is called A type packing. Next, it is shown clearly in the image, so I hope you understood. Next, three-dimensional close packing. Showing the next slide. So AB type packing. This is also again one more type, that is AB type. In two-dimensional, we have only two types now. One is AA type and another is AB type. The packing in which the spheres in the second row are located in the depressions of the first row. Spheres of the second row are located in the depression of the first row. It is given underlined red color. So spheres of the sphere in the second row are located in the depressions of the first row. The ABA type close packing is formed by placing one-dimensional row, let's say B type, over the A type close packing. So it is A type and B type close packing. So since this sphere is in contact with 6 other spheres, the sphere is contacting with 6 other spheres. So the coordination number of ABA type packing is 6, and each sphere is in direct contact with 6 other spheres. One sphere is in contact with 6 other spheres, so hence it is called coordination number is 6. So this is called AB type. This is called what? AB type. In AB type close packing, we find the triangular empty spaces called voids. So this is called triangular empty spaces. Here I am marking it. these triangular empty spaces, they are called as voids. So in two-dimensional, we got voids. So this is called void, this is called void, and so on. So the triangular empty spaces are called as voids. The triangular empty spaces are called as voids. There are two types of voids. So these are of two types: apex of triangle pointing upwards and apex of triangle pointing downwards. So this triangle is upwards, apex of triangle pointing upwards, yes, and this triangle is pointing downwards. So there are two types. So these voids are of two types, that is based on two triangles. So upward triangle and downward triangle. Next. So three-dimensional close packing. Next, so in two-dimensional close packing, we are getting voids. Whereas next, we are very important now, three-dimensional close packing. So out of all this, three-dimensional close packing is important because they'll ask in the examination based on three-dimensional close packing, and most of the crystals will form three-dimensional close packing. So the formation of real lattices and structures takes place through three-dimensional close packing only. They are formed by stacking two-dimensional layers of spheres one above the other. This can be done by two ways: three-dimensional close packing from two-dimensional square close packed layers, and three-dimensional close packing from two-dimensional hexagonal close packed layers. So you can see here the diagram. So this is the stacking of three-dimensional. So close packing, cubic close packing, ABC type. So here also they have voids. You can see types of voids in three-dimensional close packing. We have two types of voids. One is T and there is O. T is called tetrahedral voids and O is called octahedral voids. Now going back to, so this is the exact diagram of cubic close packing, that is three-dimensional close packing of crystal that is. So yeah, in three-dimensional close packing of two-dimensional from two-dimensional close packing layers. Formation of three-dimensional close packing can be done by placing the second square closed packing exactly above the first one. So just only the sentence you can understand, but here if you see it's a three-dimensional diagram. So in this close packing, the spheres are aligned properly in horizontally and vertically. All the spheres are arranged properly in horizontal and vertically. Similarly, by placing more layers one above the other, we can obtain a simple cubic lattice. Simple cubic lattice. So the unit cell of the simple cubic lattice is called primitive cubic unit cell. So three-dimensional close packing from two-dimensional hexagonal close packed layers. This is another type. The three-dimensional close packing can be formed with the help of two-dimensional hexagonal packed layers in two ways: stacking the second layer over the first layer, stacking the third layer over the second layer. So stacking the second layer over the first layer, suppose we take two hexagonal close packed layer A and place it on the second layer B. So if you see the diagram, you can understand easily, such that spheres of the second layer are placed in the dimensions of the first layer. So here you can underline this point: spheres of the second layer, spheres of the second layer are placed in the depressions of the first layer. This sentence is important over here. We observe that a tetrahedral void is found when a sphere of second layer is right above the void, empty space of the first layer. So when you find the tetrahedral voids means by joining four spheres, we will get a void called tetrahedral voids. So tetrahedral void is formed when a sphere of second layer is right above the void of the first layer. Adding further, we notice that octahedral voids at the points where the triangular voids of second layer are placed in the, so triangular voids, underlying this part, the triangular voids of the second layer are placed right triangular voids of the first one in such a way that the triangular space does not overlap. This is called octahedral voids. Octahedral voids are bordered by six spheres. In the diagram, I'll show you clearly what is a tetrahedral void, what is an octahedral void. So if the n closest spheres, so number of octahedral voids is equal to n. This is very important point. So number of octahedral voids is equal to n. That is equal to z. That is also equal to z. Means, for example, in a body-centered unit cell, number of octahedral voids is equal to 2. Similarly, in a face-centered unit cell, number of octahedral voids is equal to 3. Similarly, number of tetrahedral voids is equal to 2n. Means it is equal to 2 into z. 2 into z. So number of tetrahedral voids is equal to 6. These 2 points are useful for finding formula of a comp, where z is equal to number of atoms per unit cell. So number of octahedral voids for a unit cell is equal to z. and number of tetrahedral voids for unit cell is also equal to 2 into Z. So this formula, just remember it. When we have to use this formula, I'll tell you the next sessions, the same sessions. So there are two possible ways of placing the third layer over the second layer. That is by covering tetrahedral voids, by covering octahedral voids. So what is covering tetrahedral voids? It contains ABAB type. In this kind of three-dimensional packing, the spheres of the third layer, are aligned right above the spheres of the first layer. If we name the first layer as A and second layer as B, then the pattern will be ABAB. So all the tetrahedral voids will be formed in ABAB type, so far and so forth. So the structure formed is also called as hexagonal closed package structure, also known as HCP. Hexagonal closed package structure, also known as HCP. It is also called as cubic closed lattice. Next, covering octahedral voids. In this kind of packing, the third layer spheres are not placed. Third layer spheres, the underlying part is more important. Third layer spheres are not placed with either the second layer or first layer. If you name the first layer as A, second layer as B, and third layer as C, then they have the pattern ABC, ABC. The structure so formed is called cubic closed packing or face-centered cubic structure. So all the FCC, face-centered initials, face-centered cubic structures, example metals like copper and iron crystallize in the structure. So they are of what pattern? ABC, ABC pattern. So the coordination number in both cases will be 12, as each sphere in the structure is direct contact with 12 other spheres. The packing is highly efficient, around 74% of the crystal, and is completely occupied. So in this type of crystals, it is completely occupied mostly, and that's why it is 74% occupancy and 26% void space. 74% occupancy, 26% void space. But that's why we can say in FCC, cubic structure type, 74% voids, 74% is occupancy. Occupancy means the atoms and molecules will be occupied at 74%, and 26% is void space. Void space means empty space. And this void space, what are occupied? Tetrahedral voids and octahedral voids are formed. So that is why 26%. So T and O will be formed, remaining 26%, 74% occupied by ABC crystals. So ABC molecules, ABC spheres. Next. So this is the example. So image 4, types of voids in three-dimensional closed packing. We have two types of voids. One is T and there is O. A T is formed. Where the T is formed, you can just see here. T is formed by joining 4 concentric circles. So if you want, I'll show you the right hand side. By joining 4 concentric circles, T is formed. That is tetrahedral void is formed. A tetrahedral void is formed by joining 4 concentric circles. I'm drawing it on the right hand side. You can just see because that is given 3-dimensional, so you cannot understand. So this is called a tetrahedral void. A tetrahedral void is formed by joining 4 concentric spheres. 4 concentric spheres in a row, in 2 different rows. So whatever the gap is formed, this concentric spheres is here. So that the gap is called tetrahedral void. So that is called T, tetrahedral void. So it is given in pink color, you can just see. So that is called tetrahedral void. Similarly, octahedral void will be joined by joining 6 spheres. So this is called first one, 6 spheres, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Whatever the void is formed by joining these 6 spheres is called octahedral void. So octahedral void and tetrahedral void. So this is called, by joining 6 spheres, one placed above the other, are called octahedral voids. The void is formed is called as octahedral void, and by joining 4 spheres, they are formed as tetrahedral voids. The diagram is shown clearly, 3-dimensional diagram. O is called octahedral void and T is called tetrahedral void. All the T's and O's. O is called octahedral void and T is called tetrahedral void. If you see one separately, definitely you know octahedral voids are formed by joining 6 concentric spheres one by the other. Whereas tetrahedral void is formed by joining 4 concentric spheres. You can see here, once I'll show you. 1, and show you how octahedral void is formed and tetrahedral void. First you see tetrahedral void. First one, 2, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So for these 4 squares, what is the when join these 4 squares, where is the gap formed? Here, this is the gap formed. This is called a tetrahedral void. Next, coming to octahedral void, if you see, I'm just rubbing it. Octahedral void. Octahedral void, you take any one here, 1, 1. So here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Yes, 5 and 6. So octahedral voids are joined by joining 6 spheres. Okay. So in this way, you'll get octahedral voids. So this is about tetrahedral voids and octahedral voids. Next, these are the 3-dimensional closed packing, cubic closed packing, ABC and APC type. So here we are given clearly cubic closed packing. Next, packing fractions or packing efficiency. As I already told you, HCP and FCC, they are having maximum packing efficiency. So that is, so packing fraction or packing efficiency is the percentage of total space filled by the particles. Both HCP and CCP, though different in form, are equally efficient. They occupy the maximum possible space, which is about 74%. I'm underlining here. Yes, this is called the maximum possible space occupied by HCP and CCP. The maximum possible space occupied by HCP and CCP, that is commonly called as FCC, it is 74% to the available volume. Hence, they are called as closest packing. Since they are occupying 74% of the crystal, they are called as closest packings. In addition to the above 2 types of arrangements, a third type of arrangement found in metals is body-centered, and which space occupied is about 68%. So packing efficiency for metals is 68%. All the metals are undergoing body-centered. So next is how to calculate packing efficiency. That is volume occupied by all the spheres in the unit cell by total volume of the unit cell into 100. So volume occupied by all the spheres in the unit cell by total volume of the unit cell into 100. So let us calculate packing efficiency in different types of structures. So simple cubic unit cell, what is the packing efficiency? So already you know what is simple cubic unit cell. It contains 8 corners in which all the atoms are occupying all the corners. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. So these are called corners. So atoms are occupying only at the corners, not at the centers or anything. So as spheres are touching each other, therefore A is equal to 2R. In a simple cubic, A is equal to 2R. 2 into radius is called A. Number of spheres per unit cell is equal to, already I told you, 1 by 8 into 1, it is equal to 1. So volume of the sphere is equal to 4 by 3 pi r cube. So volume of the cube is equal to, the formula is 2r whole cube, 8r cube. So fraction of the space occupied is 1 by 3 pi r cube by 8r cube, which is equal to 52.4%. So percentage occupied in simple cubic is 52.4. So in this they ask the void space is maximum in which type of unit cell. The void space is maximum in simple cubic unit cell because 52.4 means it is around 47.6. Void space is equal to void space. Just note down void space in simple cubic unit cell. Void space is equal to 47.6, or simply you can say up to 48. So 47.6% is void space. So this is about simple cubic unit cells. How to find the volume of the unit cell occupied, volume of the total spheres into 100 by volume of the sphere. So this is the formula. For all the unit cells, formula is same, that is packing fraction is equal to the same formula, but we have occupancy is different. Next we have body centered. In body centered we know all the atoms are occupying not only all the corners, but one is at the center. So you can see here A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and one is at the center, that is C they have given. So this diagram represents body centered unit cell. In body centered unit cells, we have 2 triangles, triangle EFD, triangle AFD. You can see here EFD. EFD. You can see the triangle EFD and triangle AFD. Triangle AFD. AFD. Triangle AFD and triangle EFD. These are the 2 triangles which you have selected. From this, what you have to derive, you can see from triangle EFD and triangle AFD, we know AF is equal to C. We know that FD is equal to B. And also we know that ED is equal to EF is equal to H length. That is B square is equal to C square is equal to A square plus B square. Or C square is equal to A square plus 2A square, because B is equal to A. So 2A square. So C is equal to root 3A. We know that C is body diagonal. C is called what? Body diagonal. Underline here. C is body diagonal. As the sphere at the center touches the sphere at the corner, it is called body diagonal. So therefore, body diagonal C is equal to 4R, 4 into radius. And root 3A is equal to 4R, that is R is equal to root 3 by 4A. This is the relation between radius and edge length. Radius and edge length in BCC. R is equal to root 3 by 4A. R is equal to root 3 by 4A, or A is equal to 4R by root 3. So the volume of the unit cell is equal to A cube. Already we know, since volume is equal to A into A into A. So that is 64 R cube by 3 root 3. And number of spheres in BCC is equal to 12. That is number of spheres is equal to nothing but number of atoms per unit cell. And volume of two spheres is equal to 2 into 4 by 3 pi R cube. 2 into 4 by 3 pi R cube. So packing efficiency is equal to volume occupied by two spheres in the unit cell, because body center contains how many units? Two spheres, into 100 by total volume of the unit cell. That is 2 into 4 by 3 pi R cube into 100 by 4 by root 3 whole cube percentage, and total coming around 68%. So in body center, packing efficiency is 68%, and void space is 32%. Void space is equal to 100 minus 68, that is 32%. So this is about body center. Next, coming to face center, already we know face center will occupy maximum density. So this is called face center. And in face center, what is the relation between edge length and let R be the radius of the sphere and A be the edge length of the cube. As 4 spheres in FCC unit cell, volume of 4 spheres is equal to 4 into 4 by 3 pi R cube. And in FCC, the corner spheres are in touch with face center sphere. Therefore, face diagonal AD is equal to 4 times the radius of the sphere. Face diagonal AD. Face diagonal AD is equal to radius of 4 times radius. So, but from the right angle triangle ACD, AC is equal to AD square root of AD square plus DC square, that is applying Pythagoras theorem. So 4R is equal to root 2A and A is equal to 4 by root 2R. So volume of cube is equal to 2 by 2 R cube. So A is equal to 4 by 2 R. 4 by root 2 R is very, very important. Or you can say A is equal to R is equal to A by 2. So this is the relation between radius and edge length for a face centered unit cell. R is equal to A by 2. Very, very important. R is equal to A by 2. For BCC, R is equal to 4 by root 3 R. 4 by root 3 A. 4 by root 3 A. So this we have seen in the previous slide. So now R is equal to A by 2 is a relation between radius and edge length of face centered unit cell. And next, coming to applying packing fraction formula, packing efficiency is equal to volume occupied by 4 spheres in the unit cell, because it contains 4 into 100 by total volume of the unit cell. So 4 into 4 by 3 pi R cube into 100, that is by total volume of the unit cell is 2 whole cube. So that is A cube. So 16 by 3 pi R cube into 100 by 16 root 2 R cube. So by solving this, we got 74%. So void space is 26%. So the void space is minimum in face center, and the void space is maximum in simple cubic. So this is very, very important. So next, question 1. An element crystallizes into a structure which may be described. An element crystallizes into a structure which may be described by a cubic type of unit cell having 1 atom in each corner of the cube and 2 atoms on one of its face diagonals. The volume of the unit cell is 24 in 10 to the power minus 24 centimeter cube, and density of the element is given 7.20 grams per centimeter cube. Calculate the number of atoms present in the 200 grams of element. Now, this is the question, very important question model. So, number of atoms contributed in one unit cell is equal to 1 atom from the 8 corners plus 1 atom from the 2 face diagonals, because they are given only 2 face diagonals. So 1 plus 1, it is equal to 2. So total number of atoms is 2. So mass of one unit cell is given volume into density. So that is 24 in 10 to the power minus 24 into 7.2 grams per centimeter cube. So it is equal to 172.8 in 10 to the power minus 24 grams. So the mass of one unit cell of this crystal is equal to how much? It is 172.8 in 10 to the power minus 24 grams is the mass of one unit cell, that is 2 atoms. Now for this 200 grams of this mass is equal to how many atoms? So 2 into 200 by 172.8 in 10 to the power minus 24 atoms. So it contains 22.3148 in 10 to the power 24 atoms. So number of atoms present in 200 grams of that element is equal to 2.3148 into 10 to the power of 24 atoms. So this is model number 1. Now question number 2. Calculate the void fraction for the structure found by A and B atoms such that A forms hexagonal closed pack structure and B occupies 2 by 3 of tetrahedral voids. Very, very important. Assuming that B atoms exactly fitting into octahedral voids and HCP formed by A. So total volume of A atom is equal to 6 into 4 by 3 pi r cube. Why for A 6? Because the void fraction for the structure formed by A and B atoms such that A forms hexagonal. So for hexagonal atoms, for hexagonal closed pack structure, number of atoms per unit cell is equal to 6. So and B occupies 2 by 3 of tetrahedral voids. So hexagonal closed vacuum number of atoms per unit cell is equal to 6. So Z is equal to 6 octahedral voids. And B occupies 2 by 3 of octahedral voids. So 4 into 4 by 3 into 4 by 3 into 0.5 by pi r a cube. Since RB by RA, that is radius of cation, B by RA is as in case of octahedral void of A. Volume of HCP is equal to 24 root 2 R A cube. So packing fraction is equal to 6 into 4 by 3 pi r cube plus 4 into 4 by 3 0.414 r cube by 24 root a r cube. So void fraction is equal to 0.224. Finally got void fraction is equal to 0.7756 is total packing fraction. So void fraction is 0.02244. So in this way we'll continue. Next class, in next session we'll continue more about numericals of this topic. So we'll see in the next session. That is lecture number 3.